Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Well, there's a lot of fall colors showing up outside, and with that, you know what that means. It's time for homecoming on the Lincoln Memorial University campus. A lot of crisp temperatures out there in the mornings and some sunshine in the afternoons, and we are shaping up for a great homecoming here at Lincoln Memorial University, and of course that'll be this weekend here on the LMU campus. With that comes a lot of festivities that we're going to look into next week. Scott Shields, former Anaheim Angels player, is going to be on campus, and they will be retiring his number this weekend on the Lamar Hennon Field. So big festivities going on there, big presentation, and that'll be at about 1 o'clock on Saturday. So that's something that we're going to show some footage of next week. Also, the LMU men's and women's soccer teams will play at home on homecoming this weekend as they'll host Brevard College, the Tornadoes. That'll be a 1 o'clock and 3:30 start for the women's and men's matches, and so a lot going on in regard to that. Lady Railsplitter volleyball team on the road, and we'll tell you about that here in just a few minutes. Stay with us right here on the Railsplitter Athletics Report.
Sigmund Communications is your local radio and television stations bringing your local information, local news, and the best music from yesterday and today. Sigmund Communications was established in 1987 on the campus of Lincoln Memorial University. Since then, we have been involved in community events and other projects. Sigmund Communications is not only your local radio and television stations, but we are a learning facility aimed at educating students in the field of broadcast communications. Sigmund Communications, not just the great building with satellites that sits on the hill.
We're now MediaStream, bringing home to you more and more improvements. As your hometown team, we're dedicated to bringing our friends and neighbors more service upgrades than ever before. Always available 24/7 customer service and technical support. 30-day money-back guarantee on services. Improved bundles that will save you money. Get ready to do more of the things you love with the people you love and with savings you'll love. Call 1-800-392-2662 for details. MediaStream, bringing it home to you.
Bringing it home to you.
Since 1973, DeRoyal has been a leader and an innovator in manufacturing products for the healthcare industry. DeRoyal supplies more than 20,000 products and product lines such as acute care, orthopedics, wound care, and trauma. DeRoyal is proud to be the largest supplier of orthopedic soft goods to clinics and hospitals in the nation. Since its start in Tazewell, Tennessee, DeRoyal has grown to open factories in over 29 locations worldwide and employs over 2,000 people. DeRoyal, a name you can trust and an employer you can count on.
Looking for efficient, compassionate, and comprehensive health care for you and your family? Visit the University Medical Clinic. All providers are faculty members of LMU's DeBusk College of Osteopathic Medicine and are board certified in their specialty. Multiple specialties available including family medicine, internal medicine, OBGYN, and osteopathic manipulative medicine. With locations in Harrogate and New Tazewell and most insurance plans accepted, the University Medical Clinic is here to serve you. Call 423-869-7193 for an appointment. University Medical Clinic.
Welcome back to the show. Let's get started. The Lincoln Memorial University women's soccer team lost its second consecutive South Atlantic Conference match of the season Saturday afternoon while falling for the second consecutive time when the Lady Railsplitters traveled to Wingate, North Carolina and were upended by the Bulldogs of Wingate University 3-0 in South Atlantic Conference play. On Wednesday, the LMU women returned to Harrogate for a league battle with cross-state rival Tusculum College and again suffered a setback, this time losing 3-2 to fall to 5-5-1 overall and 2-3-1 in South Atlantic Conference play. The Lady Railsplitters have now lost 3 straight matches and have not won in their last 4 outings due to a tie against Anderson in the 3rd match of the conference season. This Saturday, the Lady Railsplitters play host to Brevard College during homecoming festivities on the LMU campus. That match with the Tornadoes is set for a 1 o'clock start. And the Lincoln Memorial University men's soccer team fell for the 3rd time in league play last Saturday when they traveled to Wingate, North Carolina to take on the Bulldogs. Riding a 2-match win streak, the Railsplitters took on the nation's number 15 ranked team, scoring the opening goal of the match less than 3 minutes in. From there, the Bulldogs reeled off 3 straight to take a commanding 3-1 lead, which carried until the 86th minute when LMU hit the back of the net for the 2nd time. In the end, however, the Railsplitters' efforts fell short, and Wingate captured a 3-2 victory over LMU, dropping LMU's men to 2-3 in conference play. On Wednesday, however, the LMU men played host to Tusculum College here on campus and rolled over the Pioneers, winning 5-0 to move to 7-3-1 on the season and 3-3 in league action. LMU sophomore Mario Pinto scored his 2nd hat trick of the year en route to the victory. Pinto currently leads the South Atlantic Conference in goals scored this season with 12, while LMU is presently 5th in the conference standings. This Saturday, the Railsplitters will make an effort to defend the faith when they host the Tornadoes of Brevard College during homecoming festivities on the LMU campus. The two SAC teams are slated for a 3:30 first touch, and admission is free to the public. And last week was a tough one for the Lincoln Memorial University volleyball team as the Lady Railsplitters traveled to West Palm Beach, Florida, and for a bout with Bentley and Palm Beach Atlantic State University, and then over to Lakeland, Florida on Sunday for a meeting with Florida Southern. LMU got the weekend started in a strong way by blanking Bentley 3-0, winning 25-13, 25-16, 25-19. From there, the Sunshine State did nothing but rain on the Lady Railsplitters parade as Palm Beach Atlantic State University knocked off LMU 3-1 by winning 17-25, 25-16, 25-23, and 25-21 to capture their second win of the year over LMU while snapping a six-match LMU win streak. On Sunday, the downpour continued as the Lady Railsplitters lost to Florida Southern in straight sets, 25-16, 25-17, 25-16, to drop the LMU women to 13-7 on the year. On Tuesday, Jenny Michael and her team returned to Harrogate for a South Atlantic Conference bout with the Eagles of Carson Newman College, riding a 5-1 league record and an undefeated home conference mark. Tuesday evening's match against the Eagles was just what the doctor ordered to get back on the winning track as LMU rolled over Carson Newman in 3 sets, winning 25-21, 25-23, and 25-18 to improve to 14-7 overall and 6-1 in league play. After the match, we talked with Jenny Michael about the victory.
I want to send a shout out and thank you to everybody who came out and supported us tonight. There was definitely a home court advantage here, and it was energy that we needed. You know, to be honest, we didn't really have our best stuff tonight, and I would like to think that the energy of the crowd really helped carry us through, and we played well enough to win.
This Friday and Saturday, the LMU women travel to North Carolina to take on Wingate University and Catawba College. Friday evening's match with the Bulldogs gets underway at 7 p.m., while Saturday's bout with the Indians is set for 2 o'clock. And on Monday and Tuesday, the Lincoln Memorial University men's golf B team traveled to nearby Bristol, Tennessee to participate in the annual King Invitational. That's hosted by King College at Bristol Country Club. After struggling somewhat in Monday's opening round by turning in a team score of 313, the Railsplitters cut 18 strokes off their combined second-day total to close out the two-day event with a 295, which helped them end the tournament with a combined two-day total of 608. 48 strokes back of tournament champion Barton University. This Monday and Tuesday, all of the Railsplitters return to action when they compete in the State Farm Intercollegiate to be held at Wasiota Winds Golf Course in Pineville, Kentucky. And with that, we're going to take a brief time out. When we come back, we'll talk with Lincoln Memorial University men's and women's tennis coach Benny Collins as they completed their fall schedule last weekend, and we'll talk about that. Stay with us.
I will help families adopt children from around the world and in our own backyard.
I am teaching ethics to the next generation of lawyers.
I will make a difference for the underserved of this region.
I will be an advocate for my clients.
As a prosecutor, I fought for those who couldn't speak for themselves.
I'm a lawyer and professor.
I will be a lawyer.
I will be a lawyer.
I will be a lawyer.
I guess we'll take Morty.
Yes. Pick last. Ouch. A vault will put you back on top. Quenches and kicks. Incoming! Yeah! You're a super soda mercenary! Vault. Drinks like a soda, kicks like an energy drink. Get to it!
History comes alive at the Abraham Lincoln Library and Museum on the campus of Lincoln Memorial University in Harrogate, Tennessee. Located 60 miles north of Knoxville and 5 minutes from the entrance of Cumberland Gap National Historic Park, the museum is home of one of the largest privately held Lincoln collections in the country.
A place to learn and play. My museum includes interactive exhibits as well as special events and educational programs. For more information, go to www.lmunet.edu.
We represent the Coke brand. We would like to sue Coca-Cola Zero.
Would you say that we have a case?
For what? For taste infringement.
We want to just sue them back to the Stone Age to send a message that they're tampering with really the flagship of the company.
It's one company. It's like you suing yourself.
Yeah.
But they're on a different part of our floor.
Da, 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 da.
Welcome back to the Railsplitter Athletics Report. I'm Rusty Peace alongside head LMU tennis coach Benny Collins. And last weekend, the LMU tennis teams traveled over to Williamsburg, Kentucky, and took on the University of Cumberland's in fall play. And, Coach, I know that was your last match of the season, per se, for the fall schedule. Right. But the teams did pretty well.
The teams did really well. You know, we had 4 of the men go to the finals in the singles flight and won their bracket. You know, there was 5 teams there. We had Reinhardt University, Carson Newman, the University of Cumberland, Lindsey Wilson, and LMU. And Lindsey Wilson is ranked about 6th in the nation, and for men and women, they've got a great team. So we met some of their players, and they were really good, which, you know, you want to play good people. You want to play people that's actually better than you if you can to really get you ready for the season.
Now, you've known Coach Tan over there for a long time. When you play his teams, what can you expect from them?
Well, Coach Tan, he's always got a solid men's team and a solid women's team. They're well coached. You know, he's as nice a coach as you'll ever meet. You know, you feel the kids really feel welcome there. The fans are good. You know, it's just a good rapport for everything. You know, I mean, it's really good.
Now, obviously, being in the South Atlantic Conference and the NCAA, you have a certain amount of scholarships you can work with. What's it like for NAIA schools? I mean, they don't necessarily operate by the same rules that we operate by, but how's their scholarship situation?
Well, their scholarship situation is fantastic for some schools. They can give a lot of scholarships out. Some, you know, like Lindsey Wilson, they evidently give 6 or 8 full scholarships because, I mean, they got the players. And Coach Tan, he's probably, you know, don't get that many because he don't have as many players. He's sort of like us. You know, he probably gets about the same amount of scholarships we get. So, you know, we match up with him really good, and we've always beaten him since I've been here. So,
we beat him across the board, but typically he'll usually have 1 or 2 big guns on the women's or men's team.
He's got a woman player over there, a female that's really good. She's an All-American. Her name is Keisha, and you know, she's really good. So she pushes our #1, whoever's playing #1 that day, to the max to get a match with them. We didn't get to play her this time. We ended up playing the Lindsey Wilson girls, which was pretty tough. You know, they're really good. So
a lot of people look at the fall schedule and it not being an official type setting. They kind of question what the benefits are for the spring season other than just working them out. But I know that really when you look at the LMU men's and women's teams right now, or at least the women, you're not up to full speed in terms of your team right now.
Correct. We're not up to full speed. You know, we got Logan Hubbs. She's injured right now. We have Aura Penalosa. She's running cross country. So we had 2 starters out, and we're 1 player short as far as I'm bringing another player in January for the spring semester. And, you know, if we get Logan back, and Aura will be back, and we bring this other player in, the girls will be up to speed, and they'll be really good.
Let's talk about some of the play at University of the Cumberland last Saturday. Individually, let's go through the women's lineup. How did people perform?
They performed really good. You know, we had Lena played #1, the new girl from Russia. She played #1. Her first match, she matched up with one of the Lindsey Wilson girls, which you know, she's ranked up really high in the singles in the nation, and big heavy hitter, big inside out forehand. And Lena lost to her. It was a good match, but you know, it was really a good learning experience. That's what these tournaments do, is give you a good learning experience. Leah played #2 that day. She beat 2 really good players, won her flight. And then from there on, some of them lost their first round, won their second round, all the way down the line, you know. So, and we had a lot of the new kids playing that got to play. They were thrilled to get to play. So,
how about the men?
The men, you know, Philip Hoffman played #1, and of course Hoffman goes to the finals, wins his flight. You know, we were without Will Sparks. Will Sparks had a slight injury, and we didn't want him to play. We didn't want to, you know, agitate that injury, so he did not play the #2 position. We was out without him. Marcelo played #2, so Phil won his flight at #1. Marcelo won his flight at #2, and then that put Alexi playing at 3. And he did not win his flight, I don't think. I can't hardly remember for sure. But anyway, Michael Conan won his flight, and the new player, we call him Nick, his nickname's Guy, is Guillermo Kasha. It's spelled Rocha, but it's Kasha, or Hasha. And he won his flight at #6, so that really thrilled him to go through and win both his matches, you know.
Let's talk about tennis in general. I mean, when you look at the United States right now, Coach, we've got we're on the upswing in terms of the level of competition. We've got some great professional players that come out of the United States. But across the board, when you look at some of the greatest players in the world, both collegiately and professionally, most of them come from the European atmosphere.
Most of them come from the European atmosphere. You know, in Europe, you either play soccer or you play tennis. And so as little kids, as they're playing soccer and tennis, they all of a sudden say, okay, you know, you're a better soccer player. We want you to play soccer. You're going to play tennis. And they really push that sport, and they play it diligently. And where we play 2 or 3 sports as a youngster, you know, you'll play Little League Baseball, you'll play the Junior Pro Basketball, and you'll play football, and then the girls will do volleyball, you know, basketball, softball, whatever. And you know, they split their time up, but where they just play one sport, they really push that, and they fine-tune it to a different level.
You know, years ago in this area, I think football is pretty much the dominant sport. Basketball, baseball, very close behind. But Middlesbrough's success back in the early days was attributed to the great feeder system they had from the middle school on up, and from the Little League football on up. But that being said, when you look at the European way of training, and you say that they do start at small ages and play it diligently throughout their lives, that's starting to be done here in the United States, and we've seen the growth of the individual skills, but still not like the Europeans.
It's not like the Europeans. You talk to most kids that are in America as a tennis player, they still played 2 or 3 sports as a youngster, and they did not put the time in as much as the Europeans, you know. So they just specialize in that one sport and really fine-tune it to a level beyond what we do. And you know, the USTA system is set up for these juniors in America to play, and what happens, you've got some great players that can't play at the University of Tennessee, and that's where their parents went to school, and they want to go to school there to follow the mom and dad, and so they just don't play college tennis, and they can play.
Is there a, you know, I don't really like the stereotype, but is there a certain type of kid that plays tennis?
Sort of, in a way, sort of. You know, you have a lot of times you have a kid that, you know, to play tennis is like golf. You got to have a little bit of money, or you're not going to get the training and the equipment and go play these tournaments. It's expensive as a child to say, if you live in Knoxville and you've got to go to Chattanooga, then next week if you play a tournament, you're going to have to go to Memphis, and then from Memphis you may have to go to Little Rock, Arkansas, and to play this summer schedule, you know, it costs a lot of money to do that. So a lot of times, you know, certain kids get to do it, certain kids don't get to do it. Plus the tennis lessons, it's very expensive. And by the time you go through 4 or 5 years of that, getting the lessons, playing the tournaments, then getting at the high school level and then traveling all over the country, it takes a lot of money.
I guess the reason that I asked that question is even the European kids that you bring in when you recruit a kid, a lot of them come in and they come from a great economic background.
They come from a good economic background. Like I said, you know, even in those countries, you have to have money to go travel and play the tournaments. So a lot of times those kids have come from good families that's, you know, it's got great jobs and it can afford to do that type of stuff, you know.
All right, let's move on to the spring schedule. That's a long way off. A lot of time to be down, but a lot of time also to work on strength and conditioning and agilities. What's the schedule going to be like for your individuals, the team players, over the next several months in preparation for the spring season?
We started yesterday in our out-of-season conditioning phase, which gives us 8 hours a week. You have 2 hours of skill work and 6 hours of conditioning. So what we'll do 5 days a week, we will condition and skill work those 8 hours. That'll continue till we get up to where the testing starts in December, and then we're no longer allowed to practice. And from there, you know, they'll do their last test, and then they'll go home. And hopefully when they go home, they will stay in some type of shape. You know, we worked really hard getting to this point and getting in shape and try to maintain some type of shape through the Christmas holidays and season, and then come back and get ready to hit the ground running for the spring semester, you know.
So as a team, until a certain date, you're allowed 8 hours a week, but individually, that's left up to the student athlete. They can do what they want to do and as much as they can to get better.
If they want to go out and work on their own, that's up to them. You know, we can't have them do that. That's illegal to do that, but we can have them 2 hours a week in certain groups, like four at a time, come out and work 2 hours a week. You know, and a lot of them, your best players are going to go work on their own. You know, that's how they got the game they got. And, you know, they will fine-tune that game and take it to the next level, you know.
To be at the top of the game, you have to have been born with a certain level of God-given ability. But, you know, there are those kids that can actually take it up a level or two by spending that extra time in the weight room, working out, et cetera.
Hard work will override lazy talent every time, was one of my sayings. I don't know who come up with that, but it's a great saying. if you look at the best players, you'll look at the hardest workers. You know, you watch guys that improve their game or girls that come back with a better game. They have diligently worked during the off season to raise their level of play, and that's what it takes.
Well, I've heard an old saying somewhere back there in the archives that says a body in motion tends to stay in motion, whereas a body that doesn't, well, I'm a prime example of that. Coach, you got each year, you know, the South Atlantic Conference is a tough schedule in and of itself.
Right.
But what non-conference opponents are we playing in 2013?
We're playing Limestone College. We're playing King College. We're playing North Greenville. I'm trying to get a match with Queens and Charlotte that's going to be coming into their conference next year. I'm trying to get set up a match with Queens. You know, we're playing several NAIA schools because they're close and budget friendly. That gets us some good competition, a lot of times tough competition, and it saves on the budget not having to travel as far. But then I'm trying to also maybe get a match with Pfeiffer, you know, and those are all regional matches. And we're getting the old Gulf South foe, University of Alabama Huntsville. They're coming up to play us up here this year. We're going to set a date up for that, and they will bring two really good teams, men and women, you know, because they've got the full boat scholarship deal. But that's just great for us because of the level of competition will make our players better.
A couple individuals on their final go-round with you here as LMU athletes. Philip Hoffman, now a senior for the men. Yeah. Leah Donoff, it's hard to believe she's already a senior.
You know, she's not very big in stature, but boy, she has a big game. You know, Leah looks to me to be the leanest and quickest she's ever been. You know, she had a foot injury last year that held her back in the conditioning phase. Probably hurt her a little bit during the season where we couldn't work, but we had to let that foot get well. And this year she's running harder than she's ever run. She's working exceedingly hard. And this may be Leah's best year. I mean, she's playing some real good tennis. She beat two really good girls at that University of the Commonwealth tournament. I was impressed. I mean, she beat one of the Lindsey Wilson's #2 girl, and that's pretty tough.
The addition of the girl that you have from Russia has probably got to be pushing her a little bit too to get better.
That's a 1-2 punch. It's going to be interesting to see who gets that #1 spot. You know, we have a playoff system in the spring to determine who gets to play where, and you might want to come watch that playoff when we start having it because it will be fire and smoke. I'm telling you, it'll be tough.
Right offhand, we've got a couple of seconds left.
Right.
Do you know the exact date of our opener in the spring?
The first match is
early February.
It was early February. I'm not for sure. February probably 6th, 7th, 8th, something like that. That's when we travel to play Limestone, I believe.
All right. Well, Coach, great fall season. We look forward to seeing the LMU teams in action this coming spring, and I got a feeling that we're going to be right up there in contention for the SAC titles again.
We're going to be in the contention for both titles. You know, we only lost one starter on the men's side, and lost one starter on the ladies' side that made a factor. So we're going to be right there.
Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back after this on the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Stay with us.
Nestled at the foot of the Cumberland Gap, Lincoln Memorial University honors the vision and spirit of Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln's values are perfectly in sync with the modern educational experience at LMU. Our students find personal attention is a way of life and a way to success. If Lincoln Memorial University fits your vision of college, visit our website at lmunet.edu for more information.
Sigmund Communications is your local radio and television stations bringing your local information, local news, and the best music from yesterday and today. Sigmund Communications was established in 1987 on the campus of Lincoln Memorial University. Since then, we have been involved in community events and other projects. Sigmund Communications is not only your local radio and television stations, but we are a learning facility aimed at educating students in the field of broadcast communications. Sigmund Communications, not just the great building with satellites that sits on the hill.
We're now MediaStream, bringing home to you more and more improvements. As your hometown team, we're dedicated to bringing our friends and neighbors more service upgrades than ever before. Always available 24/7 customer service and technical support. 30-day money-back guarantee on services. Improved bundles that will save you money. Get ready to do more of the things you love with the people you love and with savings you'll love. Call 1-800-392-2662 for details. MediaStream, bringing it home to you.
Bringing it home to you.
When we sat down to write this story, we quickly realized that it would be impossible to accurately describe what Dean Bailey meant to Lincoln Memorial University and to those that played for him, lived with him, and ultimately loved him without actually having been there. As the interviews began to unfold and we saw the admiration, the love, and respect pour out through those who knew him, just the task of attempting to tell this story suddenly became very overwhelming for me personally, because I knew most of the people that I was interviewing and saw the emotions I was pulling out of them about this man. So as a result, I talked it over with my editor and co-producer, Adam Plyler, and we agreed that the only way this could be done with any justice to what Coach Bailey actually did here and what he meant to this university would be to let those people who knew him and the interviews that had been given speak for themselves. And so that's what we did.
Well, he was a man who wanted to win. There's, all these coaches want to win. And he would get pretty excited sometimes if you didn't do the right thing.
He wanted that complete player, and this required that you, again, you had to be good conditioned, you had to be a good thinker, he wanted high expectations out of you in the classroom. So before you can understand how the X's and O's move, you have to understand first what the purpose is.
He was a guy that wanted it done. You made mistakes, you were going to come out, especially if you had somebody else you could put in.
When I first got a head job at St. Paul, I told the principal that I had the same values, he knew my dad, as him, disciplinarian, and I was a basketball coach, so I ran his style of offense and defense, but I wanted to treat everybody fair. I was a disciplinarian, and we were going to be in shape, and that's the way I was grown up with Dad, seeing his players, and that's the way I was.
He was a motivator, and he let you know what you had to do, and then he was a competitor. Now, he was a fierce competitor, and he didn't like to lose.
And I felt like that he let you do what you could do best, but he never tried to catch anybody doing anything. He caught a few, but I can tell you several times that those things occurred, but he didn't have a lot of rules. But you better not break the one or two he had.
He would talk about the game. He seemed to be a man that knew a tremendous amount about the game. His insight, whether it be on the basketball floor, whether it be on the baseball field, was like no other. It was one of those that you listen to, you learn. And at the age that he was when I was here, it was more of a father figure a little bit, just because of his age and what he'd gone through. Times were tough, without a doubt. Our level of skill play and players that we had in here was mediocre at the best. And so that's just where it was at.